Thank you so much, Mahalo.
Thank
I'm a,
you.
I'm a merciful leader, so pretty much makes sense that I would be perfect in all ways. I will now remove everyone
I'll
from
remove
here.
myself. I'll remove myself.
All right. Oh, man. Okay, so this next panel and final panel is called Infinite Scalability with CDKs. We have Ajit from Polygon Labs, Chai from OKX, Martin from Astar, Alvaro from ZK Fair, and Victor from Manta Network. So I'm going to go ahead and throw y'all on there. Boom, 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 boom. And where's the last one? Oh, there we go. And the last one. All right. I think we're all set here. I'm going to pass it over to Ajit, who is going to be modding. And yeah, enjoy your time, everyone. I don't know why I'm acting like this is some kind of like theme park ride where it's like, okay, get in, enjoy, buckle up. But, buckle up. It's going to be a great conversation. Ajit, take it away.
Thank you, Hudson. Hope you can hear me. It's great to be hosting this panel with Martin Henskens, head of A-Star Foundation, Alvaro Fernandez, community contributor for ZK Fair, Victor G, an old friend, co-founder of Manta Network, and Cheng Sai Lee, head of OKX L2 ecosystem. It's great to see you guys here. So today we're going to talk about, your experiences with the chain development kit and overall in the Ethereum L2 ecosystem, what you're building, how that's going, what your vision is, what your experience with the CDK has been, and how the Ag layer kind of contributes to what you're looking to build. So Alvaro, we'll start with you, in no particular order. So Alvaro, please introduce yourself, tell us what you're building, and how you're using the CDK today.
Yeah, so my name is Alvaro Fernandez. I'm one of the core community contributors at ZK Fair, which was the first CDK to go live. I also happen to be COO at Lumos, which is one of the solution providers, providing eventually the solutions towards building CDKs, of course, and decentralized proven networks. With ZK Fair, it's been an amazing experience so far. We were paving the way, being the first production environment that was going live for Polygon's chain development kit, and I must say so far it's been a hell of a journey. But in general terms, with the support of Polygon, with the architecture in itself, with the structure of solution providers stepping in, it's been a good journey so far. For good first 2 months.
Great to hear, Martin.
Hi, my name is Martin. I'm the head of Asta Foundation. Before I will talk a little bit about what we will be building, I will first talk about what we already built. So Astar is already a layer 1 connected to the Polkadot ecosystem, where we offer a smart contract environment where everybody wants to build on Polkadot. This is an environment that it's like an EVM compatible environment, but we also have like a Rust-based smart contract environment, making them interoperable with each other. So offering all smart contract solutions on the Polkadot ecosystem. I believe at the end of the summer, we pivoted our idea as well, and we went to the L2 space as well for expanding our tech stack. And this is where we launched our vision of Astra ZK EVM. The main reason why we launched that vision was because Astar is already recognized as one of the leading blockchains in Japan. And after Web3 being part of the national strategy of Japan through the government, we saw a lot of demands coming in from enterprises, from brands, from companies, and so on. So we had to make sure that we could follow up on demand, and that's where we saw that we really need to expand our tech stack and really need to improve the infrastructure that we are trying to provide for Japan. And this is where we came as well, close contact with Polygon Labs, and this is where our visions and missions united, and that's why we are now building our L2 with the Polygon CDK.
Great to hear. So Chai, you have a very large ecosystem already, right? So OKX is the world's second largest crypto exchange by volume. And you have some really great products. I'm an avid user of your wallet and your exchange. It's phenomenal what you guys have built. So what brought you to the CDK, and what are your plans?
Yes, we do. We are like a very strong believer of ZK technology as well as Ethereum ecosystem. That is why we launched our own Ethereum layer 2 powered by not only Polygon CDK, but I believe insights and support from Polygon team. And we launched our testnet 2 months ago, and so far there are around like 300 projects already up and running on our testnet, and very soon we are going to launch our mainnet. And so far we are very happy to see all of those achievements that we have achieved, and also we are very impressed with the technology, especially the CDK technology, in terms of its EVM compatibility, in terms of its performance, and we are also very excited about the new features such as egg layer and like other features such as like the new client that Polygon CDK will be introduced very soon. So we are very excited, and giving OKX as one of the largest crypto companies out there in terms of a centralized exchange, CeFi, as well as like application level, our Web3 product lines, they are also very successful. So our layer 2 will connect OKX ecosystem with Ethereum ecosystem with the help of Polygon CDK. Yeah.
Brilliant. So Victor, you've been building for a very long time in the, you were building for a long time in the Polkadot space. You guys have a very strong ZK team. I know Shumo was there. He's building Nebra now. And the first time we spoke, I think we had a pretty detailed conversation about your ZK work and Poseidon. So again, what brought you, given all of your ZK expertise, what brought you first of all from the Polkadot ecosystem to the Ethereum ecosystem? And then within that, I know you guys switched from OP Stack and Superchain to CDK. So what drove that decision? But more importantly, what you're building long term, and what's your vision overall?
Yeah, thanks, Ajit. So basically, like what we are doing is we really focus on like build the infrastructure for application level ZK use case. So it means like a lot of application, they need ZK to like build some new use cases, like hiding information, like fully decentralized voting, like with like to hide the address or like ZK credentials. All of this, they need to their own circuit besides the infrastructure level, like ZK rollup. So all of that, we build this kind of infrastructure to make developer, they don't need to learn this ZK like a library. They don't need to write their own like, circuit to achieve these kind of features. That's kind of what we are good at. But on the ecosystem, we start to like deploy these kind of use cases in Polkadot, and we still run our like Polkadot chain. Basically, we have the like fastest like prover speed in that like parachain. But there's no on-chain activity in Polkadot, the whole ecosystem dead. And then like we kind of like build more stuff on top besides what we promised since like last year. And we start to build like the OP stack level 2 like with the ZK application like a middleware. So we call it ZK application layer. And that is the first one used last SDA. And we initially used OP stack, but right now we are the first one like going to like actually building more stuff on top of OP stack. It's kind of a combination of the like Polygon CDK and the OP stack. And so we add the type 1 prover on top of the OP stack to work with the CDK and also work with OP. But like that's how the way work. And this can be something really new. And we recently launched something called New Paradigm. So basically like it's actually like something enable like liquid staking token and in future risk staking token on top of us, and get more and more usage and achieve really high capital efficiency in the layer 2. And in terms of the TVL, we are the third largest besides OP and Arbitrum, and we still sit there. And I mean, hopefully like still sit there with the Starknet, like getting more and more hype, but we are still the third largest. L2. Right?
Yeah, so I'm a user of the new paradigm. I have a few ETH in there. I'm really waiting for that wonderful reward. I think that's the compliant word for it. So it's a very exciting overall. I think you guys built a lot of traction in TVL very, very quickly with that really exciting, degen program. Really got ahead of Blast in some ways, which is really exciting. And I mean, you also have a lot of in-house ZK expertise, which I think we'll collaborate on more. So Chai, what sort of verticals are you targeting? Because OKX, you guys are very, very big. So I mean, I personally think you guys are going to be much bigger than Base, right? Given how much of an ecosystem you have, a lot of our friends in the West are often not aware of the sheer reach and ecosystem of OKX. So any particular verticals you're targeting? What's the plan? Where do you start? And what sort of applications do you see being deployed on your CDK chain?
Yeah. So for short term, our target is always defined. We wanted to make sure there a lot of capital as well as users. To be honest, we are not worried about the users because we have a huge number of user base that we can easily tap into. However, in terms of capital, I think there are definitely some kind of a lot of work that we needed to do. Fortunately, so far we already see some top like blue chip protocols they have deployed on our testnet, and more are coming, such as fast quickswap, curve, and a bunch more like infrastructures such as the graph, anchor, and we also engaging very closely with the Chainlink to make sure like those infrastructures they are already available to power like a very strong DeFi ecosystem. I believe we will be able to achieve this goal in half a year, or even hopefully like even earlier. And then we are also very excited to see a lot of like very innovative and also very exciting projects such as games, such as SocialFi, and some like products they fully rely on ZK technology, such as like payment or credential identities. They are also deploying on our chain. One example is it's called like Mobi Launchpad, which is very like I believe Sandeep or even Polygon like invested into this project. It's a very their product is very, very impressive. They have like new idea and new features behind it. So we are very, very excited, and we really wanted to see a lot of like very innovative ideas, products building on our chain, because for one, we are quite confident that layer 2 will be able to nurture a lot of like new ideas or products, technologies that is not impossible on layer 2 given its like performance issues. And the second thing is our layer 2 is powered by Polygon CDK, which means like it's a ZK technology. So I believe there will be a lot of like new ideas and products that is powered by ZK technology, which is like almost I would say unimaginable on other like layer ones or other non like ZK powered layer 2s. So yeah, we are very excited to see how our like layer 2 goes, and we are quite confident that for those top like developers, builders, artists, that we will be able to give them a lot of support in terms of users and other like investment or other like supports from our side.
Amazing. Martin, it's impossible to talk about Japan and blockchain without A star being the next word in that sentence, right? So and you guys have had a lot of success with gaming and NFTs, kind of this whole metaverse ecosystem. So what brought you to CDK, and then what's your vision? Where are you going forward in terms of and how is the overall activity on the blockchain so far?
Okay. To answer this question, I will tell a little bit regarding why we chose to spell the Polygon CDK. It's mainly because it's very aligned with our mission. Our mission is bringing, of course, the technology of Web3 to billions of users. But first, to start with the billions, you have to start with the millions. And this is why we, with our L2, focusing on enterprises and brands and adopting the Web3 into this. We are thinking of our mission of focusing on the entertainment sector, also focusing on brands who already have an existing user base. We are not targeting specifically the crypto users. We are here targeting the already existing users to bring them into this Web3 space. I think this is our mission to really adopt the technology that we all love. And by doing this, this is very aligned with what you guys at Polygon are doing as well by creating all those enterprise solutions together with your tech stack. And we see this as well from the demand coming from Japan, that there is a huge interest of looking into this technology. And not only because it's supported by the government as national strategy, but also Japan is looking for a way to establish themselves as well much further in the economic value of the country. And everything is now focusing on the tech nation of the US with Silicon Valley, but Japan itself also wants to be that frontier of technology. And they see this in Web3. That's why they really put heavily on this. And this is where we come in as well as a strength in Japan, not only by knowing the culture of Japan, but also knowing the technology behind Web3 and how we do this. So this is very aligned with the vision that we felt as well when talking with Sandeep and as well with you guys in Dubai. And this is where we really feel that this is the place to be to go further.
Yeah, I think most people don't realize how innovative Japan is, right? Unless you go there. I used to live there for 2 years. I go often, like once every 2 years. And the sheer amount of creativity in that ecosystem across electronics, gaming, industrials, enterprise is just phenomenal. Even financial services, the kind of tools and devices and technology you get to interface with, kind of is really always encouraging. And I think it's amazing that you guys are now bringing Japan and all of the innovation and that energy in Japan to blockchain with Polygon CDK on A-Stars network. I'm really personally very excited about it. So we'll hear a lot about it. I think what's also cool is that the global coverage of the chains building on CDK, even on this panel. I think we covered pretty much all of the geographies, all of the application verticals. But more importantly, I think there's a lot of cool technology that's coming out of that as well. So, Alvaro, ZK Fair, what's exciting? What sort of applications? What's your focus? And who are your users?
Absolutely. No, it's been a hell of a journey since time zero, so to speak, which was essentially effectively launched, which was end of December. And well, the narrative was very clear, right? It was bringing in fairness towards what was the ZK landscape. There was not yet a ZK rollup environment with their own native token. We were the first one on that regard, but we also revolutionized with what is essentially fair launches, right? And I mean, I think we made quite a little bit of noise with what was the fair distribution of ZK Fair as a native ecosystem token, and the fair distribution, which was throughout the utilization of the L2 environment in the first days of launch. Essentially, a gas fee mining, what we mentioned, or gas fee airdrop, what we eventually called it, was a total success. Over $100 million eventually crossed towards our specific L2 environment, just specifically for the event. We hit at peaks of $250 million in TVL, currently sitting at about 150 to 200 million TVL, and we've been having quite an interesting advancement or development, and this is essentially into finding that identity from the community in itself, because in ZK Fair we really have been very community focused, very community first, and what we have seen is that the predominance of being able to really determine and foment towards fairness and towards fair launches is something that became quite sticky within the ecosystem itself. So something that you have started to see is already fair launches from ecosystem protocols that are determined and are willing to commit towards eventually launching within the ecosystem in itself, and also providing what's essentially the fair launch metrics or structure in itself, right? And we've had 3 protocols so far for fair launches, 2 being very native towards ZK Fair, 1/3 one being also a CDK chain, which is Merlin chain in this case, that we collaborated with them as well. And it's been quite some advancements on that regard. In terms of community, what we've had so much is really maturation towards what's really an ecosystem that is having the vibration in terms of protocols to be used, whether it's DeFi, whether it's different games that you're seeing in the ecosystem, whether it's different protocols that have been deployed over the last 2 months. And the direction that we're really taking is towards that fairness and really being able to implement that on a next level. And one of the things that we really were bringing on the table from day one and has been implemented as well so far was the profitability distribution. And this is something that was a message also from even before the launch in itself. It's really related towards the profitability of a rollup. And this is something that's not really talked about very often, but different rollup environments, whether optimistic or ZK based, eventually have profitability. In the end, when you look at the amount of gas fees that have been obtained versus the amount or the cost eventually of securing the rollup environments down to a base layer like Ethereum, there's a certain discrepancy, and that discrepancy is exactly what we're distributing back to users ourselves. And the way that we're doing it is throughout ZKF staking, which is of course our native token, but also giving back to developers. And this is specifically a 25% that we do, essentially replaces what is or what would have been a treasury or a foundation that is providing certain incentives to protocols that may be interested in joining this ecosystem. Because in the end, what we have set up is that at protocol level or at rollup level, what you're having is an incentivization of development of developers that are deploying contracts based on usage. What does it mean? What does this mean? Based on usage, all those different protocols, all those different contracts that are being deployed are being rewarded based on that profitability that is being given back. In other words, what you're having is a cash flow that's going directly back to developers as long as there is certain degree of usage on their protocols themselves. And I believe that personally, from what we've seen so far, it's a great substitute towards the methodology of grant programs or different approaches that we have seen so far. And it's becoming it's turning to actually become a very feasible solution for us to be able to onboard a Vibram ecosystem that we're having, which is currently close to 100 different protocols being deployed, being built on top of Paymit, including the different launch pods and everything, right? So we're expanding on that regard. We're, going little by little, having our bread and butter on a daily basis. But so far, what we're having is an astonishing result, being pretty much on the top 10 across of all the different production environment rollups, including Arbitrum, including Optimism, etc., etc., etc. And slowly, little by little, taking steps forward. Also looking at some new innovative solutions as well, data availability solutions, restaking. There's a lot of things on the modularity aspect that's very interesting, but we're taking things one step at a time. So yeah, if I had to resume a little bit of what's been happening.
Yeah, a lot of that's really big ideas. Sandeep says sometimes I think it's impossible to know how many different interesting and innovative things are being built on Polygon's networks, on Polygon CDK and on the Polygon technology-based blockchains. So I'm really amazed by how many the whole cool idea of sort of fairness and how many different things can come out of it. I know Vitalik has been has written about fairness. I know Tarun has done some very interesting work on fairness of auctions. So I'm really excited to see where you go with all this now. So let's talk about something that's on a slightly different dimension, right? Liquidity. So where is the liquidity coming from, right? So are most of the assets coming from Ethereum layer 1? And this question is for all of you, or where else are the assets kind of flowing in and out from?
I'll just go ahead. So initially, we've seen a lot of Ethereum-based bridging, but as we've seen more maturity, especially within CDK in itself, and also within different rollup environments going out, what we're picturing more and what we're seeing more, and also this bridges a little bit more towards my thought process at Lumos, is aggregated liquidity. Because with different rollup environments having different purposes, different focuses, and different applications running on top, what you really want to see is an aggregation of that liquidity. You don't want to be fragmenting, and when I mean fragmenting, I'm talking about the latency, which is specific towards the fragmentation, to be able to move assets from one side to another. Essentially, what you want to do is be able to reduce that situation. Because if I'm interested in playing a game which is in a Japanese ecosystem, and then I want to move towards an ecosystem which is related to my favorite centralized exchange, I'm just putting two examples that are here on stage. I want that to be at least in a short time basis, right? So seeing that aggregation actually translate towards a better UX is something that's the more we build towards specific environments, towards application specific environments, and in this case, it's not really the case of ZK Fair, but we've seen that there's plenty of application specific roll-up environments that are coming up. The more you're going to have that dependency of aggregation. So seeing advancements towards that direction is actually going to be crucial for us to be able to coexist in a better manner as well.
No, absolutely. Martin?
Yeah, so for us, like our L2 is not launched yet, but we are working with partners like Layer 0 to connect to our L1 to bring the liquidity that we already have on our L1 to bring it as well to our L2. At the same time, we are currently in the final phases as well, working with the Polygon engineers regarding the egg layer connectivity. So the mainnet will be launched with the egg layer, and this is where the unified liquidity comes in. And then you don't need to worry about where the liquidity comes from. It comes from the whole pool where everybody is connected with. And this is what we all want to achieve. And there's also what Alvaro was saying, like we don't want the users to think about where to go from next if they go from chain. It's like this aggregation is really needed to get this adoption of the technology. And this is why we also would like, or we wanted to launch RL2 with this aggregated solutions available. Otherwise, we will also be like isolated in one way, and then we will all be digging in the same pool. Instead of digging in the same pool, but I mean, like on the Ethereum side, let's do it united and let's share all the liquidity that everybody has. And I see a huge benefit. And all the partners here who will be connected as well to that pool, like the ZK Fair and the X1 that is coming with OKX. I think this will be a huge change in the space when it comes to DeFi and all the liquidity.
Yeah, Victor. So I know that there is a few ETH in Manta that's coming from my hardware wallet, but not that many. Where else is the liquidity coming from? And what sort of patterns have you seen?
Thanks to be part of our liquidity.
Always.
I mean, like, I think generally, like, we really care about capital efficiency. So basically, like, the like, I think the way we start is we start to build a full ecosystem at the beginning. Basically, there's no missing piece. Like, there's blue chip DEX, there's like Lightning Protocol, perp DEX, and there's not only one. There's like kind of computation market, but at the beginning there's not many TVL, and we don't have that crazy amount of money raised, compared to other layer two. But the way we doing is we try to attract like Degen's money first, and through the great way of growth. And like the way of we do new paradigm, we give them NFT gets the token reward. This kind of the way is kind of really fun. A lot of people calculate about this, a lot of people try to engage about this. And but the different for us is we actually have a layer 2 compared to Blast. So after they deploy the bridge this like token into the layer 2, we don't even need to do any customer support or education. They just go to the DeFi protocol themselves. So that's kind of how it starts. But besides of that, you can see we are the only one use Hyperline bridge TIA into Manta. So we are the only EVM support TIA token. So all of these new tokens they launch in other chain, even if it's non-EVM, we can find the ways to bridge that. So that's kind of the capital efficiency we really care about. And right now, there's restaking coming. There's really good traction on AI. We recently have the AI token like ISP, and also we have the restaking, EtherFi deploy on Manta. So there will be more. It will be really fun to see all of this. But besides of that, I'm seeing more and more liquidity coming from centralized exchange. And if you go to like Binance, and Binance opened the Ethereum deposit and withdraw of Manta chain. Besides, like Arbitrum, OP, and other like ZK Sync, they support Manta. So that actually bring a lot of Ethereum from centralized exchange, and that is actually the best bridge.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's I think I have a couple of tweets out there saying that centralized exchanges are the first of all, they are great bridges. They're also fantastic layer twos. So in the sense that there are lots of things you can do really, really quickly on top of OKX, the exchange that I think we want to do on chain for more transparency, liquidity, capital efficiency, all those things, and also because that's kind of the future that we're building. But I think of OKX as a fantastic layer 2 and a wonderful bridge, which is truly cross chain, very inexpensive, and so on and so forth. So Chai, what brings you on chain? As in, you have had so much success off chain right now, but I think your vision is obviously to kind of drive this internet of value forward, and you are also a very big liquidity hub, right? As a centralized exchange, OKX is obviously a very large liquidity hub. So I think you are as much a provider of liquidity as you are as user of liquidity. But right now, in terms of your L2 architecture, how do you see the liquidity flowing across the different ecosystems, and how does CDK kind of and the Ag layer support that?
Yeah. So we are kind of like fortunate that we are one of the largest crypto companies, both in terms of centralized exchange as well as like Web3 product lines. So I mean, there are some other chains such as like Manta or Blast. They have their own unique strategies, but for us, it's more about like how to connect those like OKX ecosystem with like Ethereum system. So from that perspective, for us, liquidity majorly comes from like two areas. One is our OKX ecosystem. Another one is like Polygon, Ethereum ecosystem, or from like broader view EVM ecosystem. We believe like it's eventually like a lot of like I think it's just already happening. A lot more innovations are happening on chain rather than on like centralized exchange. Most of the technologies that centralized exchanges are using, they have been around like for I don't know, for decades or even centuries. And we are very excited that that there will be like a lot more innovations, a lot of cool ideas, products will be happening on chain, and that is why we launched our layer 2 to onboard like a lot more users on chain, and then so that they can experience something like that is like a lot more attractive and innovative. And because of that, for us, like centralized exchange, the exchanges, they have their unique ways to like so-called bridging assets or users to on-chain, and we also like are trying to our best to bridge like assets from like other layer 1s or even layer 2s as well. That is why we are like onboarding some of those like bridgers or even cross-chain solutions, and we are even more excited to see that Polygon is working on or even like going to release like Egg layer, which like going to aggregate like all of those layer 2s, the power layer 2s, or even layer 1s. I think that it would be like revolutionary, because even though there are lots of bridging solutions out there, but in terms of the way they do it, in terms of user experience, they are like either siloed or like totally different, which is like absolutely not good for the industry to onboard like huge number of users. So we are super excited to see like this new innovative ideas like so valuable, and we are going to activate that. And I believe with our centralized exchange behind it, our Web3 like product lines behind it, X1 will eventually like our layer 2 will eventually like truly become the bridge, kind of like not that can bridge, but a bridge like connecting like a lot of users, a lot of liquidity with like other ecosystem as well.
Yeah, so I think, see, I come from TradFi, been 10 years in blockchain and crypto now, but so in TradFi, like if you're trading desks at Goldman, you kind of really like the money moving around. You don't want to lock up liquidity or lock up capital because it costs money to lock up liquidity, right? So whereas in crypto, people love it when they will say, oh yeah, we have 10 billion in TVL, we just locked all this money and now we have to pay pay for it. It's actually a cost to lock up all this liquidity. In TradFi, if you're sort of trading or settling across CLS and all of the other settlement systems, then you want to hold as little liquidity as possible, right? So capital efficiency and the rapid movement of liquidity across different applications is kind of what you pride yourself on, not locking up liquidity. So it's kind of different, but I think that's where we're going to go as this ecosystem matures and sort of crypto matures as a whole. We'll sort of focus a lot more on capital efficiency than on just locking up capital. So I think that's part of why we came up with the ag layer, to allow seamless movement of liquidity across different applications, but also to create interoperability across, this whole interchain vision actually started in Cosmos. But then Cosmos doesn't solve for shared security, which is kind of what, with even AZ and some of the other solutions are quite limited, whereas Ethereum provides the shared security and the sheer amount of ZK technology and, that we've been able to move forward with the help of others also in the ecosystem in the last 2 years, with Plonky 3 coming out now, right? And SP1, Risk0, lots of other quality startups outside of Polygon also really contributing very, we are collaborating with all of them to drive this technology and ecosystem forward. So with this ag layer, I think we'll be able to, create that sort of maturity in crypto where we say, look, it's not how much money it's locked up, but it's, how many things we can do with it, right? How users feel are able to move this liquidity painlessly across different ecosystems, and then also create composite applications using asynchronous composability across ZK Fair, A Star, Manta, OKXL2, and all the other CDK chains. So I think so as I say, right, the Cosmos guys got a lot of things right, but then Ethereum brought two great things to this. One is shared security, the $360 billion worth of Ethereum that secures all of the ZK based validity chains like CDK chains, and then also the ZK technology that will now allow an ag layer, which will allow liquidity to move back and forth, and for people to be able to create these composite applications using async composability of the modularity that CDK provides. So I think and you guys are the pioneers. You've done a phenomenal job of building your ecosystems, applications. We are very lucky to have you as as part of the Polygon community, and very grateful for that. But you also bring a lot of technology capability, right? And a lot of the development skills, the engineering chops, all of the great things. And it's quite phenomenal as to how this whole Polygon network state is building up, to see and how much global talent that's coming on board. So, on behalf of the Polygon community, I would really, we are coming to the close of this panel. I would really like to thank you on behalf of the global, the millions of people in the Polygon community, which include me as well. So any last comments before we close? Remarks, thoughts, ideas, anything you want to say to the audience? Alvaro, starting with you.
Just very glad to see how this journey is really moving forward. It seems incredible to think that only 2 months ago was the first launch of a CDK production environment, and that we're already here. And I can't wait to see more excitement for what's coming with not only modularity but aggregation as well.
Yeah, Chai.
I would like to echo your point that like the capital on-chain not simply by locked up. It's more about like how it can be moved, not only different like chains, layer 2s, layer 1s, but like even like off chains. That is how capital efficiency. So I think it's more important than like just some kind of data, but like capital just like kind of like dead there. So this is something that we really wanted to achieve, like not simply about like it's just like expressway, not simply how many cars there, but we care more about like how many cars are moving every minute, every day, and how many goods are moving. So this is something that we are really excited about, or we care a lot about. And then I also would like to thank Polygon and Ether Global for hosting this, and very excited to share views with you guys.
Martin, you, and then Victor.
Okay. First of all, thank you for hosting. Thank you for inviting me to be here. What I would like to say to end things off, in the next couple of weeks, we will launch our launch campaign. This will give you the full Japanese experience. We already launched our manga comic that tells the story about our launch campaign. It's about the Yoki origins, where you can really feel the passion that we have from Japan and with Web3. And we will do this with a campaign with all our partners who are connected with us, with the gacha machines, where you can turn around, get a ball, and get a surprise that's in this. It's really exciting. It's a really cool experience that you will have that will showcase as well the Web3 experience as well for the Web2 users to enjoy Web3 with the whole Japanese look and feel.
Yeah, Martin, I love anime memes, so I'm looking forward to more manga and anime on your Twitter. So Victor, over to you.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm looking forward to see like how the transition going, and yeah, we will keep expanding the ecosystem together.
So much. Thank you to all our busy guests for joining. Thank you for building everything you're building, and it's great to have you as part of our global Polygon network state and community. Thank you so much.
Bye, guys.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Yes, thank you all so much. Thanks, Ajit, for leading this. All right, so next up we have our closing thoughts with Mark from Polygon Labs. But before that happens, just a few quick announcements. You might have been seeing the QR codes on some of these slides. If you're in the audience right now and would like an Ag Day NFT, go ahead and scan that QR code or go back a little bit in the video to a previous slide where we also have that QR code. Also, we'd like to thank ETH Global for their partnership in this. They have an amazing streaming platform they're using and a complete setup that has made this very, very, very easy for Polygon Labs. They've been very collaborative and great. So thank you so much, ETH Global. And then lastly, come join us in Denver. Go back a little bit in time on Twitter or X to our thread where we list everywhere we're going to be talking. We also have the Ag Cave, as I mentioned. We'd love to see many, many people there. So we're going to go ahead and move on to closing thoughts. And that's going to be with Mark. Mark, can you see me?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. I don't know if you all know this, but Mark is actually challenging all the L2s into a wrestling match, I believe, at ETH Denver. Is that right, Mark?
Yeah. I didn't know you were sharing that, but yeah, I'll be inviting them all to a wrestling match so that I can get piled on.
There you go. There you go. All right, Mark, take it away. Thank you.
All right. So first, Hudson, thank you for doing a really good job of being our leader today. It's been a really good experience. Equally want to thank everyone in the community for joining us. This was somewhat of a long morning for me and maybe afternoon and maybe for some people night. But I think it was really exciting. I think what you could see from our side is a lot of excitement around ZK tech. That is what this entire event ended up being kind of focused around. What you kind of heard, I'll kind of like walk through some like the key things that kind of came out of today that I think were exciting. So first is, we talked about the first component of Ag Layer going live and that being this unified bridge. And that unified bridge is one that we're going to start seeing chains connect to. We've got Polygon ZK VM connected there, and soon we'll see CDK chains connecting over there. And that's going to be exciting because we also released this bridge and call function that allows for easy one kind of user transaction being executed across multiple chains and bridging over to those L2s. But I think we also explored a lot more than that with some really amazing participants that I also want to thank for having taken time to be here from other ecosystems and from the Ethereum kind of ecosystem as a whole. But I think some of the things that we heard was first, like the acceleration of kind of ZK tech in general, ZK systems, ZK VMs. It continues to outpace like everybody's expectations, including ours at Polygon Labs. But it was also really cool. We got to talk about some of those collaborations going on. What we see is like everyone building on each other's technology, and that's the power of open source technology. Again, at Polygon Labs, we put everything out on open source licenses. We value it tremendously. It ends up moving kind of our work forward when we rely on other people's work, and same way the other way around. And we are going to continue doing that. And it really ends up moving the entire space forward. I think one of the most exciting panels that I've heard in a really long time was the panel on synchronous composability. And I think there was every single person on that panel had really interesting thoughts. And I would actually say that almost everyone in this space should probably listen to that panel there was a lot of information to learn, from like basic concepts broken down really easily to more complex concepts, and really kind of exploring the challenges and opportunities that exist there. And so, anyone who knows people who are not listening, I would encourage them to listen to that. I think the ZK Endgame panel was really cool for exploring ZK very comprehensively. We often think of, or most people think of ZK in a very narrow way, either for scalability, for privacy, and really don't think about everything that it offers. And so exploring all those problems that it solves was really cool. Maybe the coolest part was the difficulty that everyone had with actually poking holes in why ZK is the endgame. It took some pretty major assumptions to try to poke holes in that. And that's because I think fundamentally ZK does solve so many of those issues. And then the thing that I will forever say is always near and dear to my heart is CDK chains that are launching, exploring launching, or those who are already in our ecosystem who we're talking. So from ZK Fair to Manta to A-Star to OKX, they're all ramping up either live and just building very quickly, or are going to go live very shortly. They all have different approaches that you could kind of see. And these end up being very complementary in a world where you have the interoperability from the ag layer that ultimately is going to let ecosystems leverage other ecosystems. So I often say these are communities that are coming together offline when it comes to working on the same code base and improving it, but also an ecosystem that is coming together online through the connection to the ag layer and really sharing kind of users and liquidity ultimately. So I really appreciate those teams for being on, and all the other teams that are building CDK chains. I just love seeing that community continue to grow. So last thing I will kind of finish out with is just thanks again for joining us. Hopefully we'll see you at ETH Denver. And lastly, ETH Global. This was fantastic as always. So appreciate you co-hosting this aggregation day with us. And we are definitely looking to future aggregation days as well. So thank you all for listening again, and we'll be talking soon.